if the dream wasn't fascinating and compelling, we wouldn't be doing it. Right? I mean, where there's a diving into the experience. What seems to me is happening, or the invitation is that we're moving from separation to wholeness. So in this, in the experience in the meditation today, what was present, in this experience, there was an amplification of the reality of being source manifesting itself layer upon layer upon layer, with each of these layers having experience. So experiencing a story. Some stories are really long, like the length of a universe story, the beginning of a universe, ending of a universe, creation of another one. So those are stories. They're long stories. They're also a blink of an eye story from a deeper layer. The same way your lifetime is this gorgeous long thing, and it's a blink of an eye. And as we wake up in through this seamlessness all the way through, there's a profound love and joy and appreciation of all of it, and the miraculousness of the manifestation that's happening. And so there's no part that is better or worse, or right or wrong. And being present with the joy of those experiences unfolding is just the universe being in divine joy of an experience that's happening. And for me, all of that detail kept revealing deeper and deeper concepts, perceptions, realities, layers of being. I mean, it just kept revealing the magnificence that we are. So for me, it was the opposite of a distraction. It was the pathway. It was the pathway in. And as I continued to surrender through the deepest point, the deepest place where awareness is consciously aware of itself, where there's or self-awareness, that I would continually meet that edge where there was self-awareness, and then behind that where there was the sense of the mystery or the unknown or nothingness. And that everyone has that same edge, no matter where their consciousness is resting. And so I understand now the previous guidance from other traditions was to not pay attention to that stuff and focus on the deeper surrender. For me, surrendering through and being present with all of those details that came forward was the awakening. That was the teaching. And that consciousness here, I just continued surrendering through everything that appeared. Not because it was bad or it was a diversion, because it was a delight. It was amazing. And so in my own curiosity, something would come up and I would be with that, and I would be curious, what is that? Or in its revealing, it would start to just reveal itself what it was. So for me, it was that continual revealing of the game of consciousness, of hide and seek, of the, or peekaboo, right? It's more like the peekaboo of like, oh, here, hi, this part. oh, here's this part. And that the whole thing for me has then formed this very clear, detailed mapping of consciousness, of the structures of our being, of the ways that the consciousness is constructed for experience, how identity is constructed. And so I'm sharing all this to speak to both parts of why someone might say to not pay attention, and why for me the whole point was to pay attention and that it wasn't a distraction. The meeting of awareness and the realm of consciousness that hasn't been discovered yet, that is always true, that always exists in our awareness waking up to ourself. So, simple example in our humanness, not having access to past lives. And then something shifts, and then there's awareness to those past lives. So for me, the initial meeting point, there wasn't access. And then there was a surrendering through identity, a sense of I am, which then opened to the next level. And that passageway through, for me in the awakening, and in each of the stages, is what is referred to as the eye of the needle, or I will call the surrender point, where you meet the edge of your consciousness, where everything is known, where you know yourself as being, you know yourself as existence, you know you exist. And then surrendering back through to where you can't see, because you're using the perceptual field at whatever dimensional body, whether you're seeing this life, seeing past lives, seeing atoms, seeing universes inside you, it doesn't matter. It's the reference point of the perceptual view of that level of embodiment. And so you can shift from that perceptual, whatever perceptual level, to meet the edge of the unknown. And then when that surrendering happens and one opens to the next level, the place of the unknown and that surrender spot is still there. It's just the next layer. So there's always, so far in my experience, there is always that place where consciousness hasn't woken up to itself yet in the background. And so my understanding of other traditions is that that's the focus is to get there, right, or surrender into that, and for me in this process there's a recognition that never ends. It never ends. It is the game that we play as oneness to unfold lives and experience ourselves in every way possible.